Welcome, friends. This is Archangel. So, what can one expect after a red pill awakening? Sure, you are no longer a clown, a fool to the system, but is the torment of truth worth the loss of ignorant bliss and warm, cozy fairy tales? What awaits you after your dreams, your beliefs, your identity, your understanding of the world has been irrevocably rendered false? Now what? Where to now? Liberation and empowerment await once you have finally grasped the bitter truth. You have been a clown, a patsy played for a fool, a worthless utility, an expendable pawn in a malicious drama. Now, your life begins. How should you proceed once you realize you have been lied to, brainwashed, abused, manipulated, and mercilessly used? Well, that's a whole lot of casserole to pile onto your plate at once, and acceptance and recovery from such unwelcomed revelation is unpleasant, to say the least. It's like being plucked from a warm, comfortable, deliciously cozy hot tub and immediately thrust into a tub of ice. There is shock, discomfort, pain, indeed even anger or rage. Initially and instinctually, you want nothing more in the universe than to be placed safely back into the decadent warmth of the hot tub from which you were plucked. Yet inevitably, as the cold sets in from the ice surrounding you, you eventually have a moment of clarity. You see the hot tub for what it really is, a toxic cesspool filled with needles and razor blades, and that the warmth and leisure you thought you were enjoying were mere illusions you were enamored and intoxicated with while you were in the hot tub. Sitting there immersed in ice, even despite your discomfort, you realize that you will never again see the hot tub in the same way. The genie of reality has been unleashed and cannot be stuffed back into the bottle. So now you cry not for the reality of the hot tub, but for the fairy tale you thought it was. You will grieve for the loss of illusion, not the loss of its malevolent reality. The cold sobriety that finds you upon full awakening from red pill revelation induces the stages of grieving. Males, whether they understand it or not, will go through the grieving process. They will grieve the loss of romantic illusion, not the reality of male-female relations, which is and always has been an antagonistic association of selfish manipulation for survival. Males will grieve the loss of the grand illusion that they have placed upon the female sex, not for the reality of the female sex as they truly are. Most will progress through anger, sadness, despair, and hurt that they have placed the lot of their hopes, dreams, and ambitions into such an illusion. Waking to misandry, sitting in the tub of ice, and finally seeing male devaluation and disposability for what it truly is and always has been, is truly a watershed moment of vivid pain. You feel betrayed. There has been a palpable loss, the loss of your previous identity, with all your former hopes and dreams and beliefs. So you do find yourself amidst one or more various stages of the grief process. This is a process which necessarily accompanies liberation from deep indoctrination. It is a process I am all too familiar with, as not only have I been a gynocentrically brainwashed male, I was raised in a very indoctrinating religion and had to work my way out of that programming as well. Even while in the process of extricating myself from that, I was simultaneously gagging down red pills and awakening to male devaluation. They are both simply laps around the same malevolent obstacle course. Sometimes you're taking multiple life courses at once. Still, coming to terms with male devaluation and the reality of male disposability has been a bitter process. Contemplating things in retrospect, you see the grieving process at work. Denial, anger, hurt, sadness. This seems to be standard course curriculum for any such basal or core deception and catastrophic loss. Taking the red pill is loss. It's loss every bit as real as the death of a loved one. Sometimes it is even worse, because the loss you experience is yourself. The loss of that ignorant you lounging in the hot tub, merrily unaware of reality. This is as real as it gets. The loss of the dreams and happiness based upon lies is like a knife to the heart, with no one to pull it out. The awakening represents loss, and most do not realize the gravity of the loss they experience until they are sitting in the red pill tub of ice looking back at the lies and deception they were being spoon-fed by malevolent hands while sitting in the hot tub. More than that, there are red pills within red pills. So finally you awaken and realize that rampant male devaluation exists, that you and your sex is loathed, hated, and abused. That's rough. To become aware, finally, that you have no value and are simply a utility, a shovel to dig ditches, then be discarded, a societal clown and a whipping boy for anything and everything. Understanding with clarity that you are a disgusting demon because of your anatomy is an awareness too painful for most males to concede, so they cover their eyes and jump back into the hot tub. Yet, after this red pill, there is another, the red pill of mitigation futility. Many males, in attempts to retain some vestiges of their former hopes and dreams, will try to barter and salvage the lies they once embraced. They will attempt to mitigate in their own heads that not everything was lies. There was a shred of truth in there somewhere. This is where you get the much-touted NOWALT, which, for those who aren't familiar, is an acronym for Not All Women Are Like That. Okay, so most females despise males and use them mercilessly for utility, productivity, and the pampering they receive from brainwashed compliant men who are too indoctrinated or weak to overcome their carnal desires. But there must be some females out there who transcend their own personal desires and ambitions in order to simply love males unconditionally. Males desperately seek to breathe life into their former illusions of romance and unconditional love, so they try to keep their former fairy tales alive by imagining that there are these exceptions out there. There must be a few hot tubs out there filled with pristine, life-enhancing water rather than chemicals and needles. I totally understand and empathize with this stage of awakening. I have been stuck in this stage for many years, seeking out that one exception that would validate me and rescue me and stroke my hair in tender moments, telling me of my infinite worth and beauty. Indeed, realizing this fallacy, taking this red pill, can be more painful than the first. Many males find themselves here, realizing misandry and speaking out about men's rights, yet unwilling to see the whole truth, instead holding on to hopes that they will find salvation through females, in the form of a rare, benevolent Aphrodite. Still, the difference between ignorance and the first red pill represents the difference between the unconscious masses and the men's rights advocates. The difference between the first red pill and the second red pill represents the difference between men's rights and MGTOWs on their way to Liberation Y. Perhaps it's all the same awakening. Some simply choose to stymie their return to full consciousness and linger in the realm between dream and reality. Believe me, I have hung out in this place for a long time, in this quasi-reality, and still feel a strong longing to return to this place where I pretend that not all praying mantis females are alike, and that one day, when the stars reach perfect alignment, I might chance upon that one special praying mantis female who won't cannibalize me for sustenance after we mate. I do not chastise anyone. I am simply saying I have been there, I understand the pain which can disable the newly awakened. I feel the pain of all my brothers, and I understand, not tolerate, but understand the vicious attacks they hurl upon those of us who have awakened. We have a culture, indeed a planet, of males who would rather tear into each other in order to keep the fairy tales alive and well within their heads. Go to any thread or discussion of male devaluation and misandry, and you'll see these males attacking the males speaking against this injustice. Such males are reacting this way out of fear, because deep down they feel that there is truth to these things, and they fear somebody telling them that Puff the Magic Dragon does not exist. Within this fear, there is also implied weakness. One reason I believe there are so many hostile attacks on MGTOW by unconscious males is because MGTOWs have the flagrant courage, the audacity to call reality for what it is, which demonstrates courage and implies weakness on the part of the brainwashed masses who lack the strength to accept these truths. And obviously, when somebody reveals your weaknesses to you, your knee-jerk reaction is hostility towards that person rather than introspection at the wisdom they offer. I understand this. So what awaits you after a red pill awakening? Well, indeed, there is discomfort, much like there is discomfort after considerable forces have been placed upon a muscle. Yet in the midst of the discomfort, your muscle is growing stronger. So no, it's not all doom and gloom. In fact, there is considerable gold awaiting you. All such pain becomes a distant, pale annoyance when you finally reclaim your beauty, your infinite worth, your sovereignty, your majesty. Reclamation of your infinite power is the prize of liberation. It is a sweetness you cannot know until you finally enter the very heart of hell's misery and emerge as a phoenix from the ashes. Males handle the red pill awakening in different fashions. Some withdraw and spend some much-needed time tending to their wounds and discovering the remarkable wonder that is themselves. Many will vent about their frustrations, which sound to the unconscious masses as hatred, in particular as misogyny, but it is not. Males are simply expressing their pain of betrayal with angry words, which is a form of therapy, not an announcement of misogyny adoption. Males ranting against females is not hatred, but rather therapy. Release of rage is integral in healing. Others, such as myself, feel a righteous outrage and reach out a hand to others struggling to scale this cruel wall of male devaluation and disposability. I let my betrayal fuel my desire to help others out of the servitude they were born into. I put on my trench coat and affix sunglasses to my nose, and I peddle red pills. I cannot force red pills down anyone's throat. They must swallow them of their own volition. However, I am here to help when they finally do. MGTOWs on their way to liberation do not have or wish ill upon females. They simply decide to stop sticking their fingers in the light socket and instead focus on caring for themselves, since nobody else will. My friends, it will get better. Your suffering is not in vain. Our examples of proclaiming power and worth and refusing to be doormats will provide grease to the wheels of revolution. It will come. Maybe not in this generation, but humanity will eventually benefit from the blood we've spilt and the tears we've wept. My friends, you are not alone. And the brilliance, the clarity, the world that awaits you when you finally awaken, I cannot describe. You must experience it. So please, stand with me. Live free.